When I was 25, I believed I had time. I believed that youth was an endless resource, that the path ahead would wait for me while I wandered. And now, I'm 45. And time, she has taught me otherwise. If you're in your 20s or 30s, I invite you to sit with me. Not as a teacher, but as a fellow traveler who's been walking a little longer. What I'm about to share isn't just advice. It's a reflection of what I wish someone had whispered into my heart when I was your age. You see, the greatest illusion of youth is permanence. We think we'll always have the energy, the opportunity, the time. But time is not a bank where we save hours. It's a river, always flowing, whether we notice or not. So, while you're busy chasing goals, scrolling endlessly and trying to be someone the world will applaud, life, real life, is quietly slipping by in the background. Let me tell you a story. When I was 29, I met a man who had everything: wealth, status, influence. He walked into our monastery not for spiritual teachings, but for silence. His eyes were tired. His hands, though manicured and clean, trembled with restlessness. He said to me, "I've reached the top. But now I wonder if I was climbing the wrong mountain." That one sentence sat in my heart for years. Because many of us are climbing, fast, desperately. But what if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall? In your 20s, you're planting seeds, not just of career or relationship, but seeds of thought, habit, character. And the tragedy I see, too often, is that we plant seeds in poisoned soil, chasing validation, drowning in comparison, always rushing, never arriving. So here's my first offering to you. Slow down to hear your own heartbeat. It's not about becoming lazy or unambitious. It's about being deliberate, knowing why you do what you do. Because a life without intention is a life led by others. Ask yourself, who am I trying to impress? And at what cost? There was a time when I too sought to be somebody. Even in robes, that desire doesn't vanish easily. The ego is clever. It can wear the mask of humility, of service, even of spirituality. But beneath all that, there was still a voice whispering, "Be seen, be praised." It wasn't until I spent 30 days in silence, deep in the Himalayan foothills, that I truly heard what mattered. The silence revealed something uncomfortable. I didn't know who I was without the roles I played. Have you asked yourself who you are when no one is watching? When no one's liking your post, clapping for your success, or following your journey? Because here's the truth. Peace begins when performance ends. You don't need to become someone. You need to remember who you already are. You're not behind. You're not late, but you are responsible. You're responsible for how you spend your minutes, because those minutes become days, and days become years. And one day, you'll be 45 like me, wondering where it all went. But here's the good news. It's not too late. You still have time to live deliberately, to love intentionally, to forgive fully, even yourself. Start with this practice. Every morning, before the world touches your mind, sit with yourself for 10 minutes. Ask 3 questions. What am I grateful for? What am I chasing? What can I release today? These simple reflections, done consistently, can anchor your life in peace. They help clear the fog so you can see the road ahead with clarity. I know what it feels like to fear missing out, to feel like you need to prove something. But I'll tell you something that most people don't understand until it's too late. Freedom is not in having more, it's in needing less. We've created a world where we trade peace for pace. But tell me, has rushing ever really made you happier? Or has it only made you more anxious, more disconnected, more exhausted? Let me take you back to a memory. There was an old monk in our monastery named Lobsang. He barely spoke, yet every word he said stayed with you like a warm ember. One day, I asked him, "What's the secret to peace?" He smiled and said, "Want less, give more, and sit often with the sky." I didn't understand it then, but now I do. We are not here to consume life like a buffet. We're here to taste it fully, one moment at a time. The way sunlight feels on your face in the morning. The way someone looks at you when they feel seen. The sound of rain when you aren't rushing somewhere. That's the real wealth. Not in your bank account, not in followers or titles, but in how deeply you experience the now. And now, as I sit here under this tree, watching the wind dance through its branches, I offer you this. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to have your life figured out by 30. But you do need to stop, breathe, and choose presence. That's where we'll pause, but only for a moment. Because in the next part of our journey, I want to share with you the 3 most painful mistakes I made in my 20s and how they became the doorway to transformation. Let's continue. Earlier, I promised to share the 3 most painful mistakes I made in my 20s, mistakes that at the time felt like failures, but became the very soil in which my inner life began to grow. The first was chasing certainty instead of clarity. In my 20s, I wanted answers. I wanted guarantees about my future, about my worth, about love, about success. I thought that if I could just find the right path, everything would be fine. But life isn't a math equation. It's more like music. You don't solve it, you feel it, you dance with it. I remember standing on the steps of a temple, debating whether I should become a monk. I had so many questions. Will this be the right decision? Will I regret it? Will I be happy? And an old teacher said to me, "You are trying to cross the ocean with a map, but no boat. Stop thinking. Feel the current." Clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from listening more to your body, your intuition, your experience. You may never have certainty about what will happen next, but you can have clarity about your next step. And often, that's enough. The second mistake I made was confusing attention with love. There was a period in my life where I was addicted to being needed. Whether it was through relationships or achievements, I felt valuable only when others noticed me. But let me tell you, attention is loud, but love is quiet. Love doesn't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it's just someone listening without judgment, someone sitting beside you in silence, someone remembering how you take your tea. There was a girl I once loved, deeply. But I chased her like she was a trophy, not a person. When she left, I realized I wasn't in love with her. I was in love with the version of me I thought she completed. If you're in your 20s or 30s and feel incomplete without someone else, pause. You are not a half waiting for a whole. You are already whole. Share your life, but don't seek someone to fill it. Which leads me to the third mistake: measuring success by speed, not direction. In youth, we often ask, how fast can I get there? But later in life, the better question becomes, where exactly am I going? I once ran a silent retreat for young professionals. On the first day, one man kept pacing. I asked him what he was searching for. He said, "I just want to know what I should be doing with my life." I said, "And yet you haven't sat still long enough to hear the answer." Busyness is not always productivity. Motion is not progress. You can run full speed and still be lost. Direction matters more than speed. You don't need to rush to be successful. You just need to be sincere. Now I want to invite you into a small exercise, right here, right now. Close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly exhale through your mouth. Again. Breathe in and release. Now ask yourself silently, what am I pursuing today and why? No judgment, just awareness. That awareness, that gentle noticing, is the beginning of wisdom. It's the moment you step out of autopilot and step into your life, fully awake. When I turned 40, I made a promise to myself. Not a grand vow or a dramatic ritual, just a quiet promise to stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. That meant choosing values over validation, solitude over noise, depth over distraction, and that choice, again and again, is what brings me peace. Now, let me share something that very few people talk about. Loneliness isn't cured by people. It's cured by presence. I've met people surrounded by friends who felt utterly alone. And I've also sat alone in the mountains with no one around for miles and felt deeply connected. Your relationship with yourself is the foundation of every other relationship. Don't wait until you're older to start cultivating that connection. Start now. Talk to yourself with compassion. Sit with your emotions like they're guests, not enemies. And learn to love the quiet, because in the quiet, you meet your true self. A young man once asked me, "But what if I feel lost?" I told him, being lost is just a sign that you're no longer willing to live unconsciously. It's not a failure, it's an awakening. So let me speak directly to you. Yes, you watching this. You may not know what the next 5 years will look like. You may feel behind, uncertain, overwhelmed. But you are not broken. You are not too late. You are not less than. You are simply in a sacred transition. And if you can stay gentle with yourself in the in-between, you'll come out on the other side not only wiser, but softer too. Before we continue into the final part of this journey, I want to leave you with this. You will not remember every success, but you will remember how you made people feel. You will not remember every task, but you will remember moments of stillness, moments of awe. And when you look back at your life one day, you will not measure it by how much you had, but by how much you loved, lived, and grew. Here I will share the 5 timeless truths that I now live by. Truths carved from silence, pain, joy, and reflection. Thank you for continuing this journey with me. We've walked through stories, mistakes, and reflections. And now, as we approach the end of this conversation, this quiet exchange between your life and mine, I want to offer you 5 timeless truths that I live by today. These are not philosophies from books, but teachings carved into me by experience. Write them down if you like. Keep them in your heart if you can. What you feed grows. Whether it's your anger or your peace, your doubt or your faith, whatever you give attention to will expand. If you constantly feed your insecurities, they will consume you. But if you water your self-worth, even in small drops each day, it will bloom quietly, like a lotus in muddy water. Be mindful of your mental diet. Your thoughts are seeds. Choose wisely what you plant. Your pace is not a competition. There is no universal clock ticking behind your life. Some people find their purpose at 20, others at 50. Some fall in love once, others many times. The flowers do not bloom all at once, and neither should we. Honor your timing. Trust your unfolding. You are not late, you are simply on your path. 3. Pain is a sacred messenger. Avoiding pain doesn't make it disappear, it just delays the lesson. Every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal I've endured, each one shaped me in ways that comfort never could. Pain shows you where healing is needed. Sit with it. Listen to it. Let it carve you into someone softer, not harder. Because when pain is embraced, it becomes wisdom. Silence is medicine. We live in a loud world, full of opinions, notifications, distractions. But silence, deep, intentional silence, is where truth is born. Some of the most important answers you seek will not come from books or videos or other people. They will Come when you finally get quiet enough to hear the whisper of your soul. Schedule silence. Protect it like sacred ground. Love is the only thing worth expanding. Not romantic love alone, but the love that rises when you see yourself in others. The love that forgives, that listens, that holds space without needing to fix, that speaks kindly even when it could be right. Cultivate this kind of love, and you'll never feel empty again. These 5 truths guide my life now, not because I mastered them, but because I return to them every day. Some days, I forget. I get caught up, I doubt. But then I breathe and remember. And that is perhaps the final insight I can offer you today. Life is not about perfection. It's about returning. Returning to presence. Returning to stillness. Returning to what matters. Because in the end, the questions you'll ask won't be, how much did I achieve? But, how deeply did I live? How gently did I treat myself? How well did I love? And when you reach 45 or 65 or even 85, what will bring peace is not how far you went, but how true you were to yourself along the way. I don't have all the answers. No one does. But I hope this has been a mirror, a moment, a pause in your day that reminded you who you are beneath the noise. If you've listened this far, I bow to you. Not just for your attention, but for your presence, for your willingness to sit with these words and feel them. Before we part, I invite you to do one thing. Take one action today, not tomorrow, that moves you closer to your inner peace. It could be a walk without your phone, a letter you write but don't send, a breath you take with full awareness. Do it not to fix yourself, but to return to yourself. And if this message resonated with you, share it, not for me, but for someone else who might be sitting in their own storm, waiting for a sign that they are not alone. Because you're not alone. None of us are. May you walk slowly, may you love deeply, and may you live fully. Right here, right now. Return to yourself. That's where the peace lives. If this touched your heart, comment with, "I'm ready to live fully." Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for weekly reflections from the Monk's Path. Thank you for being part of this sacred space.